Welcome. We are about to take a journey to the center of your mind with xMind, a new software. So let's open up the Finder and go to the Applications folder. We'll scroll over here to the Applications folder, clicking on it, and then all the way down at the bottom of the Applications folder. If you scroll all the way down to the very bottom, you'll see xMind. Open it. xMind opens up, and I'm going to pick the blank general or central topic blank right here. So just double click on that and it's going to open up a new file right here for us. Let's also take a look and go to save it right away. Let's scroll up to the top. So I'm going to be in the xMind file over here. xMind in the file. I'm going to hit save as. I got my save as dialog box open over here, and I'm looking for my server folder on the sidebar. Documents folder right here. Then I'm going to come up here and rename it. I'm going to put in my last name. That's your last name, obviously. Then your first name. Make sure you save your projects accordingly. And we're going to call it Sport. So go ahead and name it Sport and then hit the save button at the bottom. And now that I have it saved, I'm going to click on the central topic right here. I'll double click on it, and it will allow me to adjust the text. In this box, I want to type in sports. Now I'm going to choose a bunch of sports. So I type in sports, I hit return, and now it solidifies it, and it makes that the central box right there. Now here's where the beauty of xMind comes in, because now I'm going to rapid fire. I can put out a whole bunch of ideas around my central topic real quick. So if I just double click out here, I now create a new bubble. I could double click in that bubble and I could correct this name. Instead of floating topic, I'm going to say baseball. Now you could choose whichever 5 sports you want. So I'll have baseball right here. I double click and it's just that fast. I'm going to football. And I'm double clicking, and it could be any sports that you have interest in or that you know 3 players in that sport. So I'm going to do ice hockey here, and you see, just like this, go around and pick out 5 sports. Go ahead and do that right now. Just double click again, and you're creating a new bubble with the name in it. Go. Now, just for clarification, I double click, create the bubble, double click again to change the text, and then I hit return once I have the correct text in. So I have my 5 sports here, and to link them to the sports, all I have to do is click and start to drag, and look at that. It automatically wants me to link that to the main topic. I let it go, and it jumps it into a defaulted place. So I click on baseball, it says, oh, here's the number 2 topic. It'll go into the next spot. Right, so you see how it just bumps them all around so that everything is connected, and it makes a nice organization so I can see and think clearly on how this mind map is unfolding. Let's take a moment right now to check out the outline in the upper right hand side of my xMind window here. You'll see the outline, and it says I have the sports is my central topic, and then I have other topics here: baseball, ice hockey, wrestling, football, and baseball and basketball right here, and it just shows that in a nice organization. Now as I start to add other things to it, it'll all mix in here and make a nice outline of everything that I'm doing out here in the main page. Now these sports could be any type of sport. It could be a professional sport, an amateur sport, it could be gymnastics, it could be an Olympic sport. I don't care, as long as you know 3 people that participate in that sport. So here I know wrestling the best, right? So I'm going to double click outside of wrestling right here, and I get another floating topic, and I'm going to double click on that, and then I'm going to put in someone's name that I know participates in this sport. And Jordan Burroughs is my favorite wrestler here. So I'm going to put in Jordan Burroughs as my number 1 wrestler, and then I'm going to drag it, and you see it automatically tries to associate it with sports right here. But if I drag it out past wrestling, so you see when that line, that red line, lines up with the wrestling line, it automatically says, okay, this must be part of wrestling. So I let that go, and now it becomes a subpart of wrestling. And then I could double click again, and I could put in David Taylor, my next double click again, and David Taylor, my second favorite wrestler, right there. And then I hit return, and it locks them in. And once again, I move it, and it's going to try to make it another subdivision of wrestling, as you see here. As you see this mount, you'll also notice that the outline in the upper right will put subtopics underneath of wrestling here. So it has the people's names underneath the sport that they go on. So again, that's making an outline in the upper right hand side of the screen as I mind map or make sense of this down here. So I move on to my next topic here. I got baseball, so I put in 3 baseball players that I like the best. I have them locked in here. I double click to create the bubble, double click again to correct the text, and then I hit return when I'm done. I click on the bubble and I move it out past baseball until it links up with baseball, just like that. Right, so I'm moving it around. I don't want it to link onto one of the other players. I want it to link to baseball, so make sure that red line is heading back to baseball as I go through this. So there's my next topic, and then I'll go through and I'll do all of the topics. I'll put 3 players at the back end of all of the different sports. So now I have all 5 sports, and I have 3 players for each sport, as you can see, but it still looks kind of bland. And if this is all we needed it for, is just to get our information on paper, but then when we want to go to present it to somebody, we might want to spice it up a little bit. So let's start off with the main topic here, sports. And if you notice in the lower right hand side of our screen over here, we have some ability. We can change the font. So if you would like to change the font, you can change the font to any one of these fonts over here and just see how it changes the sports name in the center there. Okay, you don't have to, but if you want to change the font size here by just a couple points, one way or another, no big deal. And if you wanted to change the color, okay, so here's the fill color. I can click on that and select any color from this menu down here. So you can go ahead and go through that and play with those options, and then when you're finished, you can pick up with the video again. So I'm going to jazz up my project here by picking out some pieces of clip art to go over top of my sports names. So I'm going to use the hyperlink right here on the side, click on the hyperlink, and it will take me to Microsoft Office's clip art page. So here I am in my clip art website, and I'm looking for some images that exemplify baseball. So I typed in baseball in the search and I hit illustration, and now I have a bunch of different pictures. And it doesn't matter which one I pick, okay, whichever one you think most exemplifies the sport that you chose, and then you're just gonna mouse over your image that you want and right click or hold down the control button on the keyboard and left click. One or the other will work. And I'm going to copy the image. So I right click on the image and then I hit copy image, and now it's on my invisible clipboard that the computer's remembering, and I go over here and I'm going to place the image now inside my project. So I just right click on baseball here and I'm going to go to paste. I paste it in and it comes in as one of the players, but I don't want it as one of the players, so I'm going to click and drag it over top of baseball. You see how it has that green box that shows up on top of baseball, and there it is. Now it's going to be associated with baseball. I still might have this remnants here of where the baseball player was. I can simply just click delete, click on it and hit delete, and that takes it away. I could also resize my image as I put it in here, and to resize the image proportionately, which means it will not distort the image, I want to hold down the shift button while I resize on one of the corners. So I hold down the shift button, so make sure you're holding down the shift button, and then click on the corner and you could resize. Now if I let go of the shift button, you see it may distort the image, but if I hold down the shift button, it will make sure that the image stays in its proper shape when I resize it. And there you have it. So that's a good maybe 1 inch big image. That's what I want to keep it. And then I'll go around and I'll do my other images from the clip art website. So next I'll type in wrestling, because wrestling is one of my pictures here, and I can check out and see, oh, yep, this pretty much is a good image for me for wrestling. I like this one. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to copy this image. I'm going to bring it back to my project here. I'm going to find my wrestling. I'm going to right click on this and put it in by pasting or Control V. And once again, click, drag it up here, slap it in, hold down the shift, resize it to be about the same size as my baseball image. And then if I have to, I can delete this extra box right there. So now I have 2 of my 5 pictures. You go ahead and put in 5 different pictures from the clip art website, put them onto the different titles for all your sports. So now I have my 5 pictures, my 5 sports here. Some of the sports names are on the bottom, some of them are on the top. I can easily adjust that if I wanted to just by dragging it to the top. If I just click on my picture and just drag it up, it'll put the words below it. Now, just because I have the picture there doesn't mean I still can't change the font. So if I click on the entire picture, not the picture itself, but the entire bubble here, I can also change the font inside those cells. So I changed it to Optima, and it changes the font size here. And you could do a slightly larger font and change it up like so. Okay, so you could pick a font. Let's stick with the same font. So pick a font and then make all of your sports in the same font as you go around the whole project here. So now I have all the fonts changed on my sports. Now let's go out to the next level here, and I'm going to change the fonts on all of my players, and I could do this all at the same time by using a selection box. As you see, I click above all 3 players' names, I drag over top of, and it selects all 3 names. Once all 3 names are selected, I can now come down here and choose a font of my liking, and it will change all 3 of the players' names all at the same time. So you can do that now. You can choose a different font and probably bump it up just a little bit so that the names show up nice. So now I have changed color and font, put the image in and change the font, and change the font for each one of my players. So you can go through and do that now for all of your players. I'm going to change these 3 next, and so on and so forth. You can go along and change them all up. So now I have a nice looking project. That's what I wanted, and I changed up all the areas that I wanted to change up. I got pictures in there, I got the fonts, I got it all. And you could even perhaps change the font colors as well by clicking right here, changing the font color, and you see it's now changed all my basketball players' names to green, and so on and so forth. I could go through and change them all up if you so choose to choose different colors for each one of your players, or each one of your sports names have a different font color for the names. So go ahead and do that now. When you're all finished, your project is complete. You can save it and drop it in the Dropbox.